Let's talk about one exponentially multiplying way that you can increase your wealth as an expert. Possibly one of the smartest and most effective wealth techniques is to make it once and sell it multiple times. This is one that I do. I view myself primarily as a speaker, but I also have multiple income streams. Just the other day, I received a check from Audible, the audiobook service. Now, I listen to a lot of audiobooks, but I also produce audiobooks. And the check was significantly higher this quarter than usual. And of course, that's a good thing. And the reason for that is toward the end of last year, Penguin and I published Poverty Proof 50 Ways to Train Your Brain for Wealth. And I was delighted to see that within a couple of months, this thing sold out in the bookstores, and it has had a massive impact in terms of audiobook sales as well. So every quarter, I'm receiving these enlarged checks from the United States. And the wonderful thing about that is it took me a few months to put together the book, to do the research, to do the writing, and so forth. But regardless of how long it took, I did it once. And of course, now you sell it multiple times. And in its syndicated physical form, there are certainly costs entailed. And the end result of that is that the author receives about 10% of the actual sticker price of each book sold in stores. However, the digital version is a whole different story because there are no costs entailed. Make it once, produce it once, and either as an ebook or as an audiobook, it simply sells multiple times. And that becomes more or less pure profit. So if you had to start exploring that dynamic, how might you interpret that in your world? Perhaps you don't want to be an author. There are multiple ways in which you can create something once and then sell it multiple times. You might, for example, design something physical that you then sell via various channels. Just off the top of my head, I have a friend in the speaking industry who makes tens of thousands selling branded balloons at events. Who would ever have guessed that that would be profitable? And yet it is. So what I'd like you to do today is to think about this in reduced, minimalized terms. Or in other words, I don't want you to think of the biggest, grandest, most technically complicated thing that you could make and offer to a market. I want you to challenge yourself to think, what's the smallest thing? What is the most easily produced item that I can make once and sell multiple times? As experts, our job is both to teach and to entertain. Now, if you can produce something like a seminar, a book, an online course, that's a wonderful way to go. Make it once, sell it multiple times. But if you produce something that is extremely simple, but very valuable to a large number of people, you might only sell it for $1 at a time. But if you sell 1 million of those, you see where we're going with this. So the challenge then is, what can you make once and sell multiple times? You put in the effort, you make it as good as you can, but you also minimalize it. You reduce the barrier to entry in your own mind and say, what's the least that I can offer that is nevertheless genuinely valuable? Create it once, sell it multiple times, and every quarter a wonderful check arrives in the mail. Here's another example of how I'm doing that right now. My first book with Penguin, Own Your Industry, is now available as a study course. It's a multimedia course in which I guide you through the entire process with little video inserts. You take quizzes, you read chapters, and it makes the whole thing come alive for you. And there again, that's an example of how you can do that. You create it once and sell it multiple times. If you'd like to do the course, which is exactly what we talk about on this show, how to position yourself as an expert, please check out the link here. Multiple revenue streams are a smart cut to wealth. And the reason is it begins to divorce that link between hours worked and income earned. It has the incredible benefit of allowing you to do the work once, but to enjoy the profitability multiple times over. How might you get on the right side of that equation?